Okay, I have something that I bought for our farm, and that is a dump trailer. I have been wanting something for quite a while now, several years, where I could haul material, I could take material off and take it to the dump, bring in gravel for our driveway, which is an ongoing process for us. Just getting rid of things out of the house that just need to be taken to the dump and these kind of things. And there's just been a need for it for a number of years. And so I actually was going to get a dump truck. I had my heart set on a dump truck. I had one in mind. I'll talk about it in just a bit. And I actually went to look at it. I was really close to buying it, and then I just backed away from it because it just seemed like it was going to be a lot of work. And it would have been. It would have been the equivalent of getting a fixer-up car or truck, in this case a dump truck, and it would have spent a lot of time, up on jacks and me doing things to it. It would have been really, really cool, and but I just decided that I wasn't going to get into it. So then I just thought that the best thing for me to do was to get a dump trailer. I will get into all the specifics about this particular dump trailer here in just a minute. But, I just brought it home a few hours ago, and I'm sitting here going through, all of the little things associated with it, making sure that, that the hydraulics work and see how far up it goes, what's the best way to open the doors and the gate and everything in the back, and just the various scenarios that I would get into. Am I going to be taking a bunch of logs to the dump? Am I going to have big root balls in there? How am I going to open all this up, and what's the best way to do that? Am I going to be tailgating gravel for our driveway out here? What are the different things that I'm doing? And so what I found was, and this is what I'm going to address right now, is that I'm out here dealing with these barn doors. So this particular trailer has barn doors that open up in either direction. It can also open up from the bottom so that you can tailgate. And if I pull these pins right here, this cotter pin, and drive this pin out, and then leave my latch on the bottom, this whole thing can actually open like the tailgate of a pickup truck. So it's a three-way gate. And so I'm just out here, messing with all of it and seeing how it works and how well does it actuate and all those kind of things. And then I came across the fact that the latching of my barn doors was not manufactured right. And so what needs to happen is that right down in here you can see that there is a cutout on this latching mechanism. I have one on the top and I have one down here at the bottom. And you can see that they're rolled and that they should fit inside of this rolled section of this latch. It's the same for the top and the bottom. But what's happening is that the one up here on the top is not, this bracket right here was manufactured over in this direction too far by about a quarter of an inch or so. And so how did I find that out? Well, I'm sitting here, trying to press this thing into place down here with this lever. And what I ended up doing was I bent this bracket. It actually spread it out, and I broke the bolt that was in there. That's how tight that was. And then I thought, what's going on here? And then I opened it up and I realized that you can actually look at this. So this latch up here, you could see where it's hitting. That black mark right there is where it's trying to latch. It should be inside of this groove right here so that it just closes very easily. And then I can just take this lock right here, put it over the top of the handle, put a pin down through it, and that'll keep the barn doors from opening and closing. So right off the bat, what I need to do is do a little repair on this. Even though I just got it, and that's irritating to have to do that, to be honest with you. I can see what it is, and it'll be an easy enough fix. But you know, I'll talk about all the other features of this trailer here in just a minute. But let me knock out that little fix real quick and see if I can get that under control, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the trailer. All right, so what I'm going to do to fix this, and you can see exactly where it's hitting. So it's hitting a little too far up on this curve right here. It should be over here a little bit further. It should be right around in that area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a rotary file, and I'm going to come in there and I'm going to grind that down and see if I can get it to fit a little bit better. And then that one down at the bottom, I'll probably go ahead and hit it too, just to make sure. And so what the deal is, a lot of times on these, is this whole trailer is powder coated. And I learned this a long time ago when I was building motorcycles and doing some powder coating on those, that a lot of times you take certain parts and you know, you've got them fit just right where a bolt is going to go through, or you're going to be able to thread a fastener through on something, and then you take it to powder coating, and then when you get it back, you find out that the powder coating is on there so thick that it just destroyed all of your tolerances. And so I don't think that that's exactly what's happening here, because I can obviously see where the curvature is on this and where this thing should be hitting inside of this latch. So it's not quite there. The big problem is that this thing was moved over a little too far. It should have been back by about 1/4 of an inch or so. But anyway, let's go ahead and fix it, and what I'm going to do is just hit that with a rotary file. So let's roll. Okay, so I got some of that stuff fixed with the barn doors, the tailgate, whatever you want to call it, the drop gate on this dump trailer. That was a little frustrating. You buy something, you just don't feel like you should have to, spend half a day sitting there fixing something. But I think for the most part that it's just kind of a fitment type of deal, especially when these things come with so much powder coating on them. And so everything's going to be fine. I've got it fixed now, and everything will be fine. I replaced the hardware on there, and I put my own bolts in there and some lock nuts on the back side, and it fits good now. But that was just kind of frustrating that you buy something and I'm immediately having to fix some stuff on there. But so anyway, like I had mentioned earlier, I needed some sort of hauling, dumping capability. Just throwing it in the back of a truck or in a utility trailer, and then having to shovel it all out of there or rake it all out of there just wasn't working anymore. Our projects are a little bit too big to have to do that. It's cumbersome, and to be honest with you, I'm getting old, and I don't want to do it that way anymore. I've always wanted a dump truck, and so I mean, how many people do you know that say that? But I've always wanted a dump truck, and I was really, really moving towards the dump truck. And I found one here just within the last couple of weeks here in Georgia. That my mind was just set up. I was going to get it. It was a 1982 International S1600. And I'm not going to get into the whole history of International and the various dump trucks that they had produced and all that kind of stuff. But what I was more interested in was not like a big tandem or a quad axle type of thing. That's just not what I was interested in. I wanted a single axle dually, of course, that was under the 26,000 pound CDL limit that's required. And so just something nice and easy. It would hold, maybe 6, 8, 10 tons, if you overloaded it a little bit. I just didn't want to get into, something serious. But then the one that I found that I really liked, it was just going to be too much work. And then I just realized that all I'm going to be doing is taking on a project that is just going to be it's going to be a rear end differential this week. It's going to be U-joints next week. It's going to be a head gasket at some point down the road. It's going to be a whole hydraulic system rebuild for the dump bed. Brakes, tires, I just got to thinking about it, and I realized that, what, I've got other things to do with my time. I can't be out there working on an antique dump truck, although that truck would have really been cool. So as far as accomplishing things that need to be done, what I decided to do was just go with a dump trailer instead. And I just was doing my research, and I always knew that this was an option. And after I came back from looking at that dump truck and just realized that that wasn't going to be a good option for me, I just stopped by a trailer place that I have used over the years many times for trailers, utility trailers. I've had a couple of equipment trailers. I have never had a dump trailer, and I just decided that I'm going to go with a dump trailer, and that's the way I'm going to roll with it. So this is a 2018 load trail. It's a DT14, which means that it is a 14-foot dump trailer, and that obviously you could see that I went ahead with the option of the spare that is on there as well. And you know, you can look these things up online and get a lot more information about them than what I'm going to sit here and try to rattle off to you. But I just decided that this is the way that I wanted to go. So some of the basic information: an 8-inch I-beam construction. It has a go ahead and lift this up. It has a KTI hydraulic pump and hydraulic system that is in there. I currently have it on there recharging right now because I've run it a couple times since I've gotten it home, and it needs to be recharged. And it has a 7,000-pound front jack on it. That could have been upgraded. I just didn't go for all of the necessary upgrades that you have available on these. The other thing that I liked about it was the fact that it comes with the tarp system on there already. I went ahead and added the rope on there, and what that does is you unlatch it on the other side, and then when you have a load in here, by law you have to cover those loads so that you don't have debris flying out of the back of your trailer. Dump trucks have to do it. Dump trailers have to do it as well. And so anyway, the rope just allows me to pull the tarp out. And then also on this trailer is it has the catch back here in the back for the rod that is on the tarp system. And so I already vented some frustration a little bit earlier about these barn doors and this latching mechanism, but I went ahead and fixed that. But this is a 3-way tailgate system, and that the barn doors can open up individually. You can also leave those barn doors intact just the way they are and just open up the bottom mechanism so that just the bottom opens, and you can actually tailgate out of it just like a dump truck does. Or you can take out these top pins, leave the bottom engaged, and the whole thing will drop down like the tailgate on a pickup truck. But anyway, I think for the most part, now as far as weight limits are concerned, these are 7,000-pound Dexter axles. They are straight axles. These are not drop axles. And the difference being that on a drop axle, the dump trailer actually sits approximately 5 inches lower. And the reason that that would be desirable for some people is that if they are loading equipment into it. This is a heavy-duty enough trailer where you could actually put a skid steer in the back of it. You could put a tractor in the back of it. You could put an excavator in the back of it, a mini. And so some people, if they're going to be doing kind of a dual purpose, they're going to be pulling equipment, or they're going to be putting equipment in it, and they're also going to be putting material in the back of it, then, you know, it's desirable to have a trailer that sits a little bit lower. This one is not. This is a straight axle Dexter 7,000 pounds, so that makes this a 14,000-pound capability trailer, kind of, sort of. We'll talk about that in a second. But I didn't opt for the dropped axles because I may put a piece of equipment in there, but that wasn't my primary purpose for it. All right, so there's my follow-up on the dump trailer. I'm just really happy to have this thing. It's going to serve a lot of purpose for us. I would have been putting stuff in it today and hauling it to the dump because that's just, you know, what kind of urgent need that we have for it at this point. But I ended up messing around with the back portion of that and the latch and all that kind of stuff a little bit. But in the videos coming up, we will be using it. So a load trail DT14. Just go on to load trail and look up all the dimensions of it. And then as far as the color, I just went in there to go with black, but when I saw that orange, I just had to have it. All right, so new addition to the farm, and off to the next job.